Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a blind man. He was a stranger in the village. No one knew where he came from. He had no family, no home, and nothing to eat. Every day, he walked through the village, tapping his stick on the ground, begging for food. But the villagers wanted nothing to do with him. They saw his dirty clothes and unkempt hair, and kept their distance from him. Some whispered that he was cursed, while others simply ignored him. No one offered him a helping hand. Hungry and tired, he often sat under a big tree at the edge of the village, hoping someone would take pity on him. But no one came. The villagers kept their distance from him. No one offered him even a scrap of bread. Everyone refused to help the blind beggar, but in the same village lived a kind-hearted girl named Janet. She never liked to see anyone suffer. One day, as she was passing by, she saw the blind beggar sitting by the roadside. He begged her for food, and she felt pity for him. "Oh my God, you look so hungry. Wait here, let me go and bring some food for you," she said. Without wasting a moment, Janet turned and ran as fast as her legs could carry her. She quickly returned with a plate of food and handed it to him. The blind man was overjoyed and thanked her sincerely. From that day on, Janet made it a habit to bring food to the blind man whenever she could. She would sit with him, talk to him, and listen to his stories. The villagers watched in surprise. Some whispered among themselves, wondering why she would waste her kindness on someone like him. Others warned her to stay away, but Janet did not listen to them. One day, as she was feeding the blind man, a villager approached her. "Janet, why do you help this man? Why are you wasting your kindness on blind beggar?" he asked. Trying to convince her to stop helping the blind man, Janet smiled and replied, "Because he is human, just like us. He is hungry, just like we when we don't eat. If we were in his shoe, wouldn't we want someone to help us?" The villager nodded thoughtfully and walked away. When Janet's friends noticed her closeness with the blind man, they warned her to stop giving him food and to stay away from him. But Janet refused to listen to them. Seeing that she wouldn't change her mind, her friends slowly distanced themselves from her. Soon, the entire village began to avoid Janet, just as they had avoided the blind beggar. People whispered about her, some shaking their heads in disapproval. Despite this, Janet didn't regret her decision. The blind beggar had become her only friend in the village, and she continued to care for him. Every day, she brought him food, talked with him. "I would have brought you to my house," Janet said sadly, "but my family will not accept it. However, I will build you a small house so that you will have shelter over your head." The blind man was overjoyed and thanked her sincerely. Determined to help him, Janet gathered leaves, sticks, and other materials from the forest. With patience and effort, she built a small hut for him. It wasn't much, but it provided shade from the sun and protection from the rain. Now, the blind man finally had a place to rest. Every day, Janet brought him food, and they would sit together in front of the hut, chatting and laughing. Despite the villagers ignoring them, Janet and the blind man found happiness in each other's company. One evening, as Janet sat beside the blind man, he sighed deeply and said, "Janet, you are the only one who has shown me kindness. I may not see you, but I feel the goodness in your heart." Janet smiled and held his hand. "Everyone deserves kindness," she said. "No one should be left to suffer alone." Little did she know that her kindness would soon bring a great change to her life and the lives of her family. The blind beggar took a deep breath. "Janet, I want to tell you the truth, who I really am and where I truly come from." Janet, eager to hear what he had to say. The man continued, "I am not blind. I can see you clearly. I am the only child of my parents and the prince of my kingdom. My father is a wealthy king. I pretended to be poor and blind to find a kind-hearted girl to marry, because I have met many girls who never truly loved me. They only wanted me because of my royalty." Janet gasped in shock. "What? You mean you can see? You are a prince?" The man nodded. "Yes, and through your kindness, I have found the person I have been searching for. You cared for me when no one else would. You didn't judge me by my appearance or my condition. You showed me love and compassion without expecting anything in return. That is the kind of queen I want for my people." Janet was speechless. She had helped him out of pure kindness, never expecting anything in return. She looked at him, still trying to process everything. "So, what happens now?" she asked. The prince smiled. "Now, I will return to my kingdom and tell my father, the king, about you. I want you to come with me and be my wife, if you will accept me." Tears filled Janet's eyes. She never imagined that her kindness would lead to something so incredible. She thought of how the villagers had abandoned her, how she had been left with only the blind man as her friend. And now, he was revealing himself as a wealthy prince. After a moment, she smiled and said, "I helped you because it was the right thing to do, not because I expected anything. But if you truly want me by your side, then I will go with you." The prince was overjoyed. The next day, he sent word to his kingdom, and soon, royal guards arrived in the village. The villagers were shocked to see the once rejected blind beggar, now dressed in royal robes. When they learned the truth, they felt ashamed of how they had treated him, and even more ashamed of how they had abandoned Janet. The prince forgave them but reminded them of an important lesson. True kindness comes from the heart. Janet showed me love when I had nothing. Now, she will be my queen. With that, he took Janet to his kingdom, where they had a grand wedding. Janet, once ignored and ridiculed, became a beloved queen, known for her kindness and compassion. And from that day on, the village never judged people by their appearance again.